Hello and welcome to the news here on Magic Bricks Now, India's first property business channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking.
Parliament is not functioning, simply listing it for sake of listing and then not getting it. Already notice has been served for listing it on Monday.
The government blames the opposition for stalling the parliament but says the real estate regulatory bill is listed for business on Monday. Will the parliament start work now? That's a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. Mumbai at risk, the city's last line of defense against the sea. Its mangrove cover is down 20% and encroachments continue. Magic Bricks Now gets you a ground report. And in our special series, War of the Cities, we tell you about Gandhinagar's smart plans. Straight up, a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. The central government says the opposition is to blame for crucial bills like the real estate regulatory bill and GST bill not being tabled. My colleague Deepa Rana caught up with Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu. Listen to what he had to say.
It's been 10 days that the real estate regulator bill has got a cabinet nod. So what do you think is the reason it has not been listed in the business?
The point is Parliament is not functioning, simply listing it for sake of listing and then not getting it. Already notice has been served for listing it on Monday. It will be coming on Monday. But question is, there are a number of bills which are pending in the House, Rajya Sabha. The GST is pending, the Scheduled Caste Prevention of Atrocities bill is pending. There are nearly 16 to 18 bills which are pending. You are seeing what is happening in Rajya Sabha. For the sake of record, just to tell people that I have placed it in the Rajya Sabha, I would have done it long back. But anyhow, yesterday, to tell them also, I have listed that also. Now I have served the notice. I am hoping that because all these bills, either GST or the real estate, all these bills were initiated during the Congress regime. For reasons best known to them, they are obstructing the functioning of the Parliament. I only appeal to them, please allow the Parliament to function. This GST bill and real estate bill are very important bills, very progressive bills. They are in the larger interest of the society. They will revive the economy. They will help the consumers also, and the builders also will also have a good atmosphere wherein there is no fly-by-night operator type of thing and all. But unfortunately, the House is not functioning. That's my worry.
So Congress has said that they are giving the support to the regular...
where is the bill? They are also saying that they are giving support to the support you are seeing in Rajya Sabha. Let us see on Monday. If they are going to give support, I say thanks to Congress party.
My colleague Deepa also sent us this report on how the parliamentary logjam is affecting the passage of crucial bills. Take a look.
The government-opposition standoff has only derailed the progress of the real estate regulator bill in the parliament. Today, we exclusively spoke to M. Venkaiah Naidu, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister and the Urban Development Minister, who assured us that the government is ready and is serious about bringing the real estate regulator bill into the business of the parliament. However, he blamed the opposition for stalling the bill and also very categorically mentioned that the opposition needs to show its support inside parliament and not outside it. Remember, the real estate regulator bill that got a nod from the cabinet on 9th of December has not been submitted into the business of the parliament, and with this, with Venkaiah Naidu supporting the bill, it has only raised hopes of the home buyers all across the country who are fighting for RERA, who had come to Delhi and had camped here for 4 days. They had met various leaders to garner support for the real estate regulator bill. And with Venkaiah Naidu, who is also the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, coming out and saying that the real estate regulator bill might be discussed next week in the business of the parliament, it has only raised hopes that maybe we can see, maybe the real estate regulator bill will see the light of the day.
Moving on, car dealers in the National Capital Region have approached the National Green Tribunal over the Supreme Court ban on diesel vehicles. The dealers have requested for compensation for the ban. However, the NGT has kept the plea aside until the Supreme Court hears the petition again on the 5th of January. My colleague Deepa Rana also caught up with the Additional Solicitor General Pinky Anand and asked her about the compensation that the car dealers are demanding.
There's no question of any compensation. Ultimately what happens I can't say, but at this point of time this wasn't even discussed in the court. The only thing is what the concern was immediately was pollution, and how to do that. And when you have, frankly, on an observation, if I may say so, when you have an act of God, which is that there is pollution in the environment, then normally these are not obligatory on compensation.
And the NGT has also observed that some of the guidelines which the Supreme Court hasn't mentioned, they are going to bring it up on 6th of January.
Not at all. What the tribunal said specifically is that there should be some clarity as to whether the tribunal should proceed at all or should totally suspend any orders to be passed on the subjects which are under consideration or which are at least peripherally under consideration of the Supreme Court.
On 5th of January, there is also a Euro fuel that is going to be discussed for the heavy vehicles. So what do you think we can expect in terms of clean fuel and this?
See, first of all, in any case, the government has notified the BS5 and BS6. The draft notifications are already on the website. The Supreme Court obviously wants to try to prepone the processes. There will be some hearing, we will see what happens.
And ma'am, do you think that this kind of stringent measures should be used in other states as well apart from Delhi?
They would be, obviously, you're right, because NCR was used as a pilot kind of project and because of the emergency kind of situations on pollution. But obviously this is not intended to be restricted to NCR and the impact of this will go across board.
Shifting focus to the RBI, which released its housing price index. The numbers suggest that prices are beginning to move up in certain markets, with Delhi leading the turnaround. And we have our editor, Faye D'Souza, to take us through what these numbers mean. Faye, very technical. What do these numbers mean for the home buyer?
Well, it's very interesting, Krishna. The overall, index that the RBI has given us on housing prices has actually gone up a little bit of a notch. It was at 215 in the first quarter. It's up to 219 in the second quarter. And anyone in the real estate industry will tell you, even that we're very grateful for, because we've been waiting for such a long time to see some sort of movement in this industry. And it's heartening. But there's a very interesting thing. So the RBI's data obviously measures home loan disbursement. And up till now, all of the analysis that people have been giving us on the Delhi NCR market has been that the market has been very, very weak, and we both know that. The RBI's data shows us year on year, Delhi has shown the sharpest movement at 29%. Now, this is not data that any of the other private, analysis or the other private agencies have given us, that Delhi is actually moving up year on year at 21%. So that's a very interesting number. It has told us, of course, the decrease that it has seen this year has come from Bangalore. So the three cities that have moved up, Delhi, Ahmedabad and Chennai. The cities that have moved downwards, that have dragged the index downwards, are Bangalore, Kolkata and Kochi. Kochi seeing the largest downward spiral. This is bad news for the Bangalore market. Now, we've known Bangalore has been very strong. It bucked the trend for the last 2 years when we saw, slowing sales across the country. Bangalore stood strong. But even the corporate numbers of listed companies in Bangalore have shown us that the last 1 quarter has been a little weak on sales. Sales are happening, not as great as it used to be, though. Bangalore seems to be slowing down.
So, Faye, it's also an indicator of the kind of markets which are doing well at the moment, which means that as home buyers, now we have a clear idea of which markets are moving up, and maybe that's the market that we should be looking to invest in as well, right?
Well, see, as home buyers, it's basically telling us that, that home loan disbursements have begun to happen, which means that people are going in and buying homes on some level. So there is the belief that once that begins to happen, once consumers start going in, getting off the fence and start cutting their checks and start buying homes, that the market will start to turn around. So the takeaway from here is that if we've reached the bottom and we're now going to start to climb up, it doesn't make sense for you to wait until that happens. It makes sense to get in at this point. So whichever market you're in, if we're beginning to see a turnaround, it makes sense if you want to buy a home to live in with your family. It makes sense to go in and do that now and not wait until the run-up happens and then feel like you've missed the bus.
Absolutely. And to paraphrase Faye, I'd like to tell our viewers there is no point to wait until this happens. It's this right now. Now is the time you go out and start cutting those checks and buying homes. Faye D'Souza, editor at Magic Bricks. Thank you so much for joining us over here and putting that technical number into perspective. Moving on. The government is keen on getting developers to build affordable homes as part of the Housing for All 2022 scheme. But is it actually viable for builders to construct these homes? My colleague Aishwarya Paliwal caught up with marketing guru Gurcharan Das, who said that affordable homes are possible. Aishwarya began by asking Das, where had real estate gone wrong?
The economy is a big part of the problem. That the recovery is very, very slow. But it's slowly moving up, And I personally think that recovery will happen, and within a year or so we will have a much stronger demand. Issue is demand in India, and this demand will come because of jobs, because of a better work environment, and so I don't blame the real estate people. What the real estate people can do, though, is become more professional at every stage. Whether you're a broker, whether you're an investor, whether you're a builder, whether you're an architect, they need to be more professional. And I'm glad that the government is liberalizing the rules for the real estate sector, because this will also bring international experience, international competition to the real estate sector. And as we know, competition is the best school to become strong as a company.
Do you think, really we'll be able to make houses for the actual common man of India?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question of time, really. The fact of the matter is competition will force innovation. And if people have money, today if you have a house for 50 lakhs and the person says, I only have 15 lakhs, then there will be somebody who will come there with a very nice apartment for 15 lakhs. Same thing will happen at, say, 5 or 7 lakhs as well. So it's a question of competition. It's a question of also builders need to get innovative, how to do it. And the regulators, of course, also need to, the government service providers have to be understanding that high-rise buildings should be, they should allow better use of the space that we have. And if people live vertically, it releases space horizontally for parks, for schools, for libraries, for sidewalk cafes, improve our lives that way. So we shouldn't be using horizontal space for housing. That's a big issue. That will also bring down the cost.
Residents of Bengaluru are again up in arms against the government over the issue of poor infrastructure. Just weeks after Whitefield saw massive protests, residents of Outer Ring Road, Sarjapur Road, a major IT corridor, came out in large numbers to voice their frustration. Will the government sit up and take notice? My colleague Rahul Dayama sent us this ground report.
Few weeks ago, it was Whitefield rising that gripped Bengaluru. More than 8 to 10,000 people were out on the streets of Bengaluru demanding basic infrastructure, and now it is Outer Ring Road and Sarjapur side residents who are out on the streets demanding basic infrastructure. They are asking for good roads, they are asking for better footpaths to walk on, pothole-free roads, better traffic management, and of course better garbage disposal. Clearly protesters here saying that they will not pay taxes if their issues are not addressed. It's now come down to this. Residents have to scream and shout for their voices to be heard, and it's across a spectrum here, from employees, techies, homemakers, students, to even school kids who say that they are spending 2 to 3 months. A few of the residents I spoke to say they've done enough. They've reached out to the corporator here, but nothing has really happened on ground. They were forced to come out here and prove a point that they will shout and scream unless their voices are heard. They plan to go ahead and meet KJ George, the minister in charge for Bengaluru, to raise issues and see whether they will get addressed. For now, residents are far from happy and are angered about infrastructure issues in this side of Bengaluru.
Now, 1/3 of projects being built across 25 cities in India are delayed by a year. These are the highlights of a Liasis for Us report. Aishwarya Paliwal has been going through that particular report and she gets us the details. Aishwarya, tell us, what exactly is the quantum of this delay?
Home buyers like you and I will have to wait another year to move into that dream home of ours. According to a latest report by Liasis for Us, close to 3.25 billion square feet of space is currently under construction. And out of this, close to 34% or 1.1 billion square feet of space will be delayed by close to 12 months. This means that in effect, people who have been waiting for their houses will have to wait for another year. Now, according to the report, the total value of these projects which have been delayed is close to 165 crores. The report also suggests that project delays is one of the major reasons why houses are sold at such high rocketing prices. Another thing that the report says is that the real estate regulatory bill, which is supposed to be tabled in the parliament any day now, will actually improve accountability and it will reduce these delays by a margin.
Shifting focus now to our special series, War of the Cities. The deadline, as we know, is up and 85 of 98 cities have submitted their proposals to the centre. Out of that list is Gandhinagar in the state of Gujarat. What is Gandhinagar doing to get smart? My colleague Disha Shah with this report.
To be in that top list of 20 smart cities, Gandhinagar has taken a dual approach. To make the city smart, it has taken the route of PAN-based development and area-based development. In PAN-based development, 24/7 water supply is a big focus for the corporation. Secondly, there will also be CCTV cameras across the city to ensure safety of citizens staying in the city of Gandhinagar. Thirdly, a city-wide broadband service within the Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation area will be initiated with a cyber security system. The initiative will help to connect the citizen as well as floating and commuting population of Gandhinagar to access Wi-Fi services throughout the city. Two types of Wi-Fi facility shall be provided to the citizen and visitors of Gandhinagar city. Firstly, free Wi-Fi internet access and secondly, paid Wi-Fi internet access. Talking about area-based development, the corporation is retrofitting all the sectors and specially focusing on redevelopment of sectors like 7 and 21 in the city. It has focus areas on mobilizing traffic in the area and solid waste management. They have also planned to build a thick roadside plantation where there will be a provision of road with bicycle track. Also, a 25-meter service road for the commercial zone will be placed in the inner core of the sector. Apart from this, assured electricity supply with at least 10% of the city's power generated from solar has been proposed in the Smart City Plan. So all in all, Gandhinagar Corporation is leaving no stone unturned to make into the top list, and by the way, it has already submitted its plan to the Ministry of Urban Development.
It's the war of the smart cities, and it has begun.
New Town Kolkata is already smart, but what we are planning to do under the Smart City program is to make it smarter.
Who's chosen? Who's not?
In order to make it to the list of top 20 smart cities, Vadodara has taken a dual approach.
Proposal is ready and now we are in readiness to submit before the Ministry of Urban Development.
Who will become smart and who's out?
World standard healthcare facilities and educational institutions we are focusing in this smart city project.
The architects of India's biggest urban revolution speak exclusively to India's first property business channel.
It is clearly a war of the cities.
Magic Bricks Now. Now on to the other big story we're tracking over here. Mumbai's last line of defense against the sea, its mangroves have reduced by half. Indiscriminate land reclamation and garbage dumping are choking this vital buffer against flooding. Aishwarya Paliwal has his ground report.
I am holding the first PIL that was filed in Bombay High Court against illegal dumping of debris on mangrove land. As you can see behind me, a lot of garbage and debris has been dumped in this mangrove in Andheri. These mangroves cover approximately 300 acres of land. Now the reason why people are fighting tooth and nail to save these mangroves is that if these mangroves die, then there will be no place or no area which will soak in the excessive water that Mumbai will face during torrential rains. Already from 2000 to 2015, the drop in the total area of mangrove cover has depleted by 15 to 20%. In 2000, Mumbai had close to 10,000 acres of land under mangrove cover. Fast forward to 2015, and this vital buffer has shrunk to under 7,000 acres. 60% of the reduction came from land reclamation done to accommodate the needs of the growing city. But as urban planners point out, there are far better solutions.
Creating centers around city which are on the island city as well as in the Palghar, Vasai Virai region along with Panvel and Navi Mumbai and Trans Harbour Bridge which is coming up, if these things are developed rapidly, then there will be definitely a less what you call a burden on the western suburbs or the central suburbs, and then we can protect the the naturalness of the city as well as its surrounding areas and have a little more well-balanced development. That's the only way we can grow actually.
Mumbai has also lost another 30% of this mangrove cover to illegal dumping by encroachers. This land grab is done in a unique manner. Debris is being dumped on these mangroves, which soaks the water and chokes the mangroves to death. And activists allege that the government officials in the know turn a blind eye to this activity.
Most of the people who are doing this are people with political builder connections because they stand to profit directly from it. And in the case of Mira Bhayandar, it is the local bodies who are doing it. In fact, if you see the horrendous dumping ground which has absolutely no infrastructure for it, waste management which is on the site, you just taking the waste and dumping it on the mangroves. This has been going on from 2011.
In fact, the situation is so dire, environmentalists predict this could be another Chennai in the making. But they believe Mumbai can be saved.
So I think it is extremely important that local citizens who are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of the flood prevention from these wetlands are actively engaged in working with the municipal corporation, police and other authorities to ensure that the edges of the mangroves are, or any of the wetlands, whether it is rivers, nalas, ponds, creeks, are maintained in a high level of cleanliness, and debris and garbage dumping is prohibited.
Currently, if somebody is caught dumping debris on mangroves, they are let off with a paltry fine of 20,000 rupees. Small change for what is the city's final line of defense against the sea. Clearly, Mumbai has still not learnt its lessons from 26/7. In Mumbai, Aishwarya Paliwal for Magic Bricks Now.
And with that, we've completely run out of time on this show. But remember, if you have any feedback or suggestions for us, write to us on the email IDs flashing on your screens. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, so feel free to tweet to us or post your query on our Facebook page. We would absolutely love to hear from you. Also remember to check out our live streaming website, www.mbnow.in. And with that, we wrap things up here on this edition of the news here on Magic Bricks Now. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.